I slammed the hood of Lincoln's beat-up Ford F-150 shut, the metallic clang echoing like a gunshot in the empty driveway. My hands black with grease and my back screaming from the post-practice ache. That's when I heard the gravel crunch behind me. Slow, deliberate footsteps that made my skin prickle. "You always this thorough, kid?" A voice rumbled, low and gravelly, laced with something that wasn't quite amusement. I turned, wiping my forehead with the back of my arm. And there he was, Isaac, Lincoln's uncle, silhouetted against the fading orange sky, his broad shoulders filling the space like he owned the damn horizon. It was supposed to be a quick favor. Lincoln, my best friend since we were kids terrorizing the Pee Wee League in this godforsaken corner of Ohio, had blown a gasket during his shift at the mill last week. "Alex, man, you're the only one I trust with this rust bucket," he'd begged after practice, tossing me the keys with that lopsided grin of his. Football had been brutal that day. Coach riding us like we were gladiators in some ancient coliseum. The turf chewed up from the November chill seeping in early. I was bone-tired, smelling like sweat and turf, but Lincoln was family. Closer than family, if I'm honest. We'd shared secrets in the back of that truck, dreams of escaping this town where the factories loomed like judgmental gods. And yeah, maybe a few stolen glances that neither of us ever named. So I drove over to their place on Elm Street, the house with the sagging porch and the American flag that fluttered like a half-hearted promise. Lincoln's mom. His aunt to me, but she'd always been like a second mom. Waved from the kitchen window, her apron dusted with flour from whatever pie she was baking to drown out the silence since Uncle Ray passed. But Lincoln wasn't home yet. Overtime at the plant, she said with a sigh. Isaac was, though. I'd seen him around. Lincoln's uncle by marriage, the one who showed up after the funeral like a storm cloud, all quiet intensity and calloused hands. He was in his early 40s, maybe, with salt and pepper hair cropped military short and eyes the color of Lake Erie on a stormy day, gray, deep, pulling you under if you stared too long. He'd watched me work from the garage doorway, nursing a beer, not saying a word at first. Just that gaze, heavy as the humid air before a thunderstorm. Now, as I straightened up, he stepped closer, close enough that I could smell the faint tang of motor oil on him too, mixed with something earthier, like cedar and regret. "Gaskets fixed," I muttered, avoiding those eyes, grabbing my wrench from the toolbox. "Should hold till spring if he doesn't redline it again." Isaac chuckled, a sound like distant thunder, and set his beer on the truck's fender. "Lincoln's always been reckless. Takes after his old man." He paused, tilting his head, and I felt it then, that shift like the air pressure dropping before the rain hits. "You, though, you got patience. Steady hands." His voice dropped on the last words, and he reached out, not touching me, but close enough that his fingers brushed the edge of the hood near mine. I froze, heart kicking like I'd just run suicides on the field. I mumbled something about needing to get home, but my feet didn't move. Isaac's hand lingered, then withdrew, and he straightened, that shadow crossing his face again. "Stay for dinner. Auntie's got enough meatloaf to feed an army." It wasn't a question, and damn if I didn't nod, like some part of me had been waiting for an excuse to linger in that charged silence. Dinner was awkward at first. Small talk about the game, the mill layoffs whispering through town like a bad omen. Lincoln burst in halfway through, reeking of sweat and steel shavings, clapping me on the back hard enough to rattle my teeth. "Hero of the hour." Trucks purring again. He ruffled my hair like we were still 10, oblivious to the way Isaac's fork paused midair, his jaw tightening just a fraction. We laughed, shoveled food, and for a moment, it was like old times. 3 guys in a kitchen lit by a single bulb, the world outside fading to black. But later, as Lincoln and I shot the shit on the porch swing, cigarettes glowing like fireflies, talking about college scouts sniffing around after my last interception, Isaac appeared in the doorway, keys in hand. "Gonna run to the store. Need anything?" Lincoln waved him off, but I caught Isaac's glance my way, quick as a flick of a lighter. Protective? Curious? Couldn't tell. What I did know was that when he drove off in his old Chevy, taillights bleeding red into the night, something in my chest twisted. a warning, or maybe a welcome. That night, I dreamed of garages and shadows, hands that fixed more than engines. Woke up sweating, the kind of sweat that sticks to your skin like guilt. The next week blurred by in a haze of drills and deadlines. School was a grind. AP history droning on about the Industrial Revolution while the mill coughed smoke outside the window. A reminder that history wasn't dead. It was just rusting in your backyard. Lincoln and I were thick as thieves, as always. Study sessions that devolved into video games, late-night drives blasting Springsteen till the windows fogged. He was the golden boy quarterback with a cannon arm charm that could disarm a bomb. Me? I was the shadow, defensive end, the guy who hit hard and asked questions later. We balanced each other, or so I thought. But Isaac lingered in my head like a bad habit. I'd catch myself scanning the stands at practice, half expecting his broad frame among the cheer moms and bored dads. Stupid, right? He was Lincoln's uncle, off-limits in every way that mattered. Yet there was something about him, a quiet storm that pulled at the frayed edges of me. I'd always known I was different. Crushes on teammates that I buried under bruises and bravado. Coming out in this town, that was a one-way ticket to whispers and worse. So I played straight, laughed at the locker room jokes, and kept my eyes on the playbook. Friday night lights came, and we crushed the rival from Toledo. Me sacking their QB twice, Lincoln threading needles like it was nothing. The crowd roared, bonfires lit up the fields after, and the party at Jake's farm was the usual chaos. Kegs hidden in hay bales, girls in flannel giggling, guys shotgunning beers till they puked. Lincoln was in his element, arm around some cheerleader named Becca, but he kept drifting back to me, slinging an arm over my shoulders. "To the Kings of Ohio," he'd toast, breath hot with cheap beer. I was buzzed, leaning against a rusted tractor, when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Truck running smooth? Swing by tomorrow. Got a job for those hands. My stomach flipped. Isaac. How'd he get my number? Lincoln, probably loose lips. I typed back before I could think. Yeah. What time? Dawn. Bring coffee. I showed up at 6 a.m., styrofoam cups steaming in my grip, the neighborhood still shrouded in mist off the Cuyahoga. Their driveway was empty, garage door half open like an invitation. Isaac was under his Chevy, legs sticking out, toolbox splayed like a surgeon's kit. "Black, 2 sugars," he called without looking, voice muffled by the concrete. I handed it over, crouching awkward-like. "Figured you'd need it after last night's game." He slid out, grease smudged across his cheek, taking the cup with a nod that felt like approval. Up close in the dawn light, he looked worn, lines etched deep around his eyes, like he'd carried too much for too long. "Heard you were a beast out there. Lincoln won't shut up about it." He sipped, eyes flicking over me. "But you're the one holding the line." We worked in rhythm that morning, me handing tools, him cursing under his breath at a stubborn bolt. Talk flowed easy. His time in the Marines, desert storm sand still gritty in his nightmares. My dad bailing when I was 8, leaving mom to sling doubles at the diner. "Family's what you make," he said at one point, wiping sweat with his forearm. "Blood don't always count." By noon, the Chevy purred like a kitten, and we cracked open sodas on the porch steps, the sun burning off the fog. His knee brushed mine. Accidental, maybe, and neither of us moved. "Why me?" I asked, voice rougher than I meant. "Lincoln could have fixed it." Isaac stared out at the street, where kids on bikes chased the ice cream truck. "Needed a reason to see you again." Simple words, but they landed like a tackle, knocking the air from my lungs. That was the spark. What followed was a summer stolen in fragments, before school swallowed us whole again. Mornings in the garage, afternoons fishing the riverbanks where the water ran murky with old steel mill runoff. He'd tell stories of places I'd only seen on maps. Tokyo neon, Berlin walls crumbling. I'd share my sketches, rough pencil drawings of the lake at sunset, hidden in my notebook like secrets. Laughter came easy, then silences that stretched warm, his hand on my shoulder lingering a beat too long. One evening, as fireflies blinked to life over the water, he turned to me, the line between us taut as a fishing rod. Alex, this town's got teeth. Bites down hard on what it don't understand. His voice was low, urgent. I knew what he meant. Us, this pull that defied every rule. I leaned in, heart hammering, and our lips met soft, tentative like testing thin ice. It wasn't fireworks. It was a quiet unraveling. His hand cupping my jaw, rough but gentle, tasting of salt and possibility. We didn't name it. Didn't need to. Stolen moments. His truck parked on back roads. Radio low with Tom Waits rasping about lost souls. My bedroom window cracked open after midnight, his whispers threading through the screen like smoke. Lincoln suspected nothing. Too wrapped in his own orbit, scouts calling, Becca turning serious. But guilt gnawed at me, a shadow in the corners. Betraying my best friend? With his uncle? It was a grenade with the pin half pulled. Fall deepened. Leaves turning the streets to fire. Practices turned vicious. The playoffs looming like a guillotine. Lincoln and I were unbreakable on the field. Him slinging passes, me crashing through lines like Judgment Day. Off it, though, cracks showed. He'd pull away during our drives, staring at the dashboard. You been distant, man. Everything cool? Yeah. I'd lie. The taste of Isaac still on my tongue from the night before. Just tired. Then came the betrayal, not mine, but the one that shattered everything. It was mid-October. The air crisp with the promise of snow. Lincoln texted me after school. Party at mine tonight. Dad's toolshed project. Be there or be square. I showed up with a six-pack. The house thumping with bass from the basement. Auntie's meatloaf again. This time with cousins from Cleveland piling in, turning the kitchen into a zoo. Isaac was there, of course, manning the grill out back, flipping burgers with that quiet command. Our eyes met across the yard. Electric, forbidden. And I looked away first, heat crawling up my neck. The night wore on, beer flowing, stories escalating. Lincoln, 3 sheets to the wind, cornered me by the fence. Alex, swear to God, if something's up with you. His words slurred, but his eyes were sharp, hurt flickering underneath. Before I could deflect, a shout from the house. Becca, voice shrill. Lincoln, your uncle's truck. It's blocked in. Chaos erupted. Everyone spilling out, laughing at first, then grumbling as Isaac tried to navigate the narrow drive. In the shuffle, I slipped to the garage to grab jumper cables. Thought maybe the battery was low from the cold snap. That's when I saw it. Lincoln, frozen in the doorway, staring at my jacket slung over a sawhorse, the one I'd left after our last fix-up, tucked in the pocket, half spilling out. My notebook. The one with sketches, not just landscapes but one of Isaac. Laughing by the river, light catching his profile, labeled in my scrawl. Storm eyes. Lincoln's face drained of color. What the fuck, Alex? He snatched it up, flipping pages, each turn a knife twist. This? Him? My uncle? I lunged for it, panic clawing my throat. Link, wait. It's not. Not what? You've been screwing around with Isaac? Behind my back. His voice cracked, betrayal raw as an open wound. The party noise faded. It was just us, the garage light buzzing like a swarm of accusations. It's more than that, I choked out, but he was already storming off, notebook clutched like evidence. Isaac appeared then, drawn by the raised voices, his face paling as Lincoln shoved the sketch at him. You too? My own blood. Isaac's jaw clenched, hand reaching for Lincoln. Nephew, listen. Save it. Lincoln roared, tears streaking his flushed cheeks. He swung wild, fist glancing off Isaac's shoulder, then bolted into the night, truck keys jangling. The engine roared to life, tires spitting gravel as he peeled out, leaving us in stunned silence. Isaac slumped against the wall, head in hands. God damn it. I knew this would break him. We searched for hours, me driving blind through town, calling his phone till it went to voicemail. Isaac at the river spots, the old haunts. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, and still no sign. Then the call came. State trooper, voice flat as Ohio asphalt. Lincoln's truck wrapped around a tree on Route 8. The one with the hairpin turn everyone knew to fear. Airbag deployed, but the impact. Too much. He was gone before they cut him free. The funeral was a blur of black suits and casseroles. The church packed with mill workers and teammates, all whispering about the accident. Mom held me as I shook. Isaac across the aisle, eyes hollow, like the light had leaked out. We didn't speak, couldn't. Guilt was a chain around my neck, heavy as the dirt they shoveled onto his casket. Weeks bled into winter. I quit football, the field a graveyard of what-ifs. Sketches burned in a trash barrel behind the diner, ashes scattering like regrets. Isaac vanished. Took a job hauling freight cross-country. Auntie's house echoing empty. Letters came sporadic, his handwriting jagged. Miss the river. Miss you. But Lincoln, he deserved better. I wandered, numb, working shifts at the garage that once felt like sanctuary. One night, snow blanketing the town like a shroud, I found the old Ford in impound. Lincoln's truck, mangled but salvaged. I bought it cheap, spent months piecing it back. New frame, fresh paint, engine purring smooth. A resurrection or penance. Spring thawed the ground, and with it a letter, not from Isaac but Auntie's. He's coming back. For the memorial. Don't let hate win, Alex. Lincoln loved you both. The service was small, by the lake where we'd fished as kids. Isaac arrived last, leaner, wind-whipped from the road. Our eyes met, storm to shore, and after, as folks drifted away, he stayed. I thought about running forever, he said, voice rough. But you're the fix I can't walk from. I stepped closer, the water lapping gentle. We broke him. How do we not break us? He took my hand, calluses rough against my palm. By building something real. For him. For us. No kiss. Just that grip, promise in the pressure. We started slow. Coffee at the diner, talks that peeled back layers. His nightmares, my sketches reborn, now of horizons, not just faces. Auntie's blessing came quiet, over pie. He'd want you happy. Both of you. Summer returned, fireflies dancing. We drove the restored Ford to the river. Radio low with Petty singing about running down dreams. His hand on my knee steady. Not perfect. Scars run deep. Whispers in town linger like smoke. But in that truck, windows down, wind carrying us forward. I felt it. Redemption, not in forgetting, but in carrying the weight together. Lincoln's ghost rides with us, a quiet passenger. And in the rear view, I see him smiling, lopsided, forgiving. Because love, the real kind, doesn't betray. It mends. The drive back from the river that first real evening felt like crossing a threshold. The kind you don't notice till you're on the other side. Isaac's fingers drummed the wheel to an old Eagles tune crackling through the speakers. Hotel California, weaving its spell of inescapable roads. I watched him sidelong. Profile sharp against the sunset. A faint scar tracing his jaw from some marine mishap he only hinted at. You ever think about leaving for good? I asked, voice barely cutting the guitar solo. He glanced over, gray eyes softening in the gold light. Every damn day. But roots, they tangle deep. A pause, then quieter. What about you, kid? Got scout sniffing, could be Big Ten lights, nil deals. Real shot. Kid. The word stung now, laced with the distance we'd bridged and the chasm Lincoln left. I shifted, boot scuffing the floor mat. Football was his dream. Mine was just staying close. To him. To this mess of a town that shaped us crooked but strong. We pulled into Elm Street as stars pricked the sky. The house lights warm through the trees. Auntie's silhouette in the kitchen. Probably kneading dough again, her therapy, turning grief to loaves. Isaac killed the engine, but neither of us moved. The air hummed with unsaid things. Alex, he started, turning to face me fully. This us? It's not a rebound. Not some pity fix. His hand found mine on the seat, thumb tracing circles that sent sparks up my arm. I see you. The man you're becoming. Not the boy patching trucks. I swallowed hard, the weight of it settling like ballast. Then show me. No more hiding. He nodded once, resolute. Leaned in slow, lips brushing mine. Not the frantic stolen kisses of before, but deliberate, like sealing a pact. Cedar and coffee, his stubble grazing soft. When we broke, foreheads touching, I whispered, "For Lincoln. For all of us." Auntie didn't blink when we walked in together, arms brushing casual. Set an extra plate without a word. Her smile faint but real. That night, talk turned to plans. Not escapes, but anchors. Isaac talking union drives at the mill, fighting the layoffs that chewed men like Lincoln whole. Me enrolling in community college for engineering, fixing things for a living but on my terms. Sketches evolved too. Not just faces but blueprints. Garages reimagined, homes rebuilt. But peace is fragile in a town like ours. Whispers started subtle. A teammate at the gas station. Eyebrow arched. "Heard you're thick with the Widowmaker now." Jake, Lincoln's backup QB, cornered me after a pickup game, sweat slick and accusatory. "You think you can just waltz in on that? After what you did to Link?" His punch missed, but the words landed, bruising deep. I didn't fight back, couldn't. Just walked away, knuckles white on my keys. Isaac found out later. Rage simmering quiet when I confessed over takeout burgers. "They don't know shit," he growled, pacing the living room like a caged wolf. "But if they come at you," his fists clenched, knuckles scarred from fights I'd never hear. "Don't," I said, pulling him down beside me on the couch. "We fight smart. Together." That night we talked it out. His deployments, the buddies lost to IEDs and bad calls. My dad's ghost, the abandonment that taught me love was conditional. Vulnerability cracked us open, but in the raw we mended stronger. Fall crept back, playoffs a ghost haunting the air. The high school field lit up without us, new kids chasing glory. I went once, alone, sat in the bleachers as the crowd cheered a fumbling drive. Felt Lincoln there, in the turf's scent, the roar's echo. Tears came unbidden, hot and silent. Isaac found me after, thermos of coffee in hand. "He'd hate seeing you like this," wrapped me in his jacket solid as oak. We drove home slow, his hand on my thigh a steady anchor. Winter hit hard that year, blizzards burying the mill power flickering like hope. Isaac and I holed up, fortifying against the cold. He'd cook, chili thick with beans, stories of MREs tasting like regret. I'd draw by the fire, him posing dramatic. "Make me look like a hero, not the villain." Laughter bubbled, easing the ache. But betrayal's shadow loomed larger. Turns out, Lincoln's crash wasn't just speed and sorrow. The coroner's report, leaked in hushed tones at the diner. Traces of oxys in his system. Pills from the mill dock, chasing away the pain of a sprained ankle from practice. But deeper. Texts on his phone, ones I hadn't seen. To Becca, breaking it off. To his mom, "Can't breathe here anymore." And one to me, unsent. "Figured it out, Alex. You and him. Wish I could hate you. Love, Link." Guilt redoubled. A vice. I confronted Auntie one gray afternoon. Snow drifting lazy outside. "Did he know? Before?" She sighed, folding a dish towel precise. "Suspected. Confronted Isaac weeks prior. Quiet, over coffee. Said he needed time." Her eyes, Lincoln's eyes, met mine steady. "He was hurting, Alex. Not just you two. The town, the future closing in. Don't carry it all." Isaac took it harder, retreating to the garage for days, wrench in hand like a rosary. I dragged him out one night, to the river frozen silver under moonlight. "He forgave us," I said, breath fogging. "In that text, we honor him by living." He pulled me close, arms iron bands. "How? When every look feels like theft. By loving fierce. No apologies." Our first real fight came after, a stupid spark over money. Isaac's hall gig dried up, mill shifts cut. I picked up overtime, grease under nails constant. "Let me help?" I pushed, pride flaring when he waved it off. "I'm not your damn charity case," he snapped, voice echoing off the rafters. "And I'm not your kid." It escalated, words like shrapnel. His control issues from the core, my fear of abandonment. Door slammed, me storming to the truck, Lincoln's truck, driving till gas light blinked. Hours later, headlights cut through dark as I pulled up. Isaac on the porch, blanket round shoulders, waiting. Sorry, he said simple, pulling me into warmth. Scared I'll lose you too. We rebuilt from there, therapy his idea, a grizzled vet counselor in Cleveland. Sessions unearthed minds. Isaac's marriage to Ray's sister, a cover for his own hidden truths, ended in quiet divorce before Ray's death. My crushes buried young, emerging like weeds through concrete. Progress slow but real. Spring bloomed tentative, dogwoods pink against blue. We hosted a barbecue, small, just auntie, a few mill buddies who'd stuck by Isaac. Laughter tentative at first, then free. Jake showed, awkward handshake. Missed you on the line, man. No more accusations. Healing, in be in. One evening, riverbank picnic, sandwiches, cheap wine. Isaac pulled a ring from his pocket, simple silver band etched with a compass rose. Not legal here, not yet, but a promise. North always finds home. Tears pricked. I slid it on, his matching. To the horizon. Summer swelled, full of firsts. Weekend in Columbus, holding hands in a dive bar where no one cared. Pride in Cleveland, rainbows bold against gray skies. We marched for Lincoln, 2 signs reading love wins, even late. Town thawed gradual. Diner nods turning to smiles. Teammates inviting me to alumni games. But climax brewed in the heat. August. Mill announced closures. Hundreds out. Isaac's crew hit hardest. Protests erupted. Picket lines snaking Main Street, chants echoing off brick facades. Isaac front and center, bullhorn in hand, voice steady. We built this town. They don't get to bury us. I stood beside, sign heavy, workers united. Tensions boiled. Cops in riot gear, scabs crossing lines with sneers. Then it snapped. A bottle sailed, shattering at Isaac's feet. Chaos. Fists flying, tear gas stinging eyes. I lost him in the melee, heart seizing. Found him later, bloodied lip, arm twisted bad from a baton swing. Hospital wait was agony, fluorescent hum mocking. Fool, I muttered when he woke groggy, morphine dazed. Worth it? He rasped, squeezing my hand. For them. For us. Union held. Mill stayed open, narrow victory. Isaac healed slow, me nursing with soup and sketches. Him as warrior, bandaged but unbowed. Fall again but softer. College started, nights studying by lamplight, Isaac quizzing me on torque ratios. Lincoln's memorial expanded. A scholarship fund, football camp for mill kids. We spoke at the launch, hands linked under the podium. He taught us heart. We carry it forward. Winter wrapped gentle, snowfalls blanketing sins. New Year's, we toasted on the porch, fireworks popping distant. To storms past, Isaac said, pulling me close. And those to come, I replied, kissing him deep. Together, the scholarship launch lingered like a good ache, the kind that reminds you you're alive. Standing there in the high school gym, banners fluttering with Lincoln's number 12, I felt the town's pulse shift, grudging respect edging out suspicion. Coach Miller gripped my shoulder after, gruff. Proud of you, son. He'd be too. Isaac, beside me in his best flannel, ironed for once. Nodded silent, but his eyes said it. We did this. Life settled into groove after, but grooves were thin. College ramped up, meching lectures droning differential equations, labs smelling of solder and sweat. Isaac picked up welding gigs, nights at the fab shop till his shoulders nodded. We'd collide home around midnight, exhausted but ravenous. For food, for touch. Dinners were rituals. His chili, my garlic bread burned just right, talk dissecting the day.
Professor clines a dinosaur, ide gripa, fork babbing.
Thinks Cad's witchcraft.
Isaac Desmirk, stealing a bit.
Show him your sketches. Bet he'd eat crow. His faith was quiet fuel, stoking embers I forgot I had. But undercurrents stirred. Becca resurfaced. Lincoln's ex, now a nurse in Akron. reaching out via Facebook. Miss him. Heard about the fund. Wanna help? Innocent enough, but her visits stirred dust. First one, coffee at the diner. Pretty in scrubs, eyes red-rimmed. He talked about you non-stop. Best friend a girl could dream of sharing. Subtext hung, what happened? I deflected, but guilt gnawed. Next, she came to the house. Dropped off donations, lingered with Auntie over tea. Isaac stiff in the kitchen, pouring refills mechanical. She means well, I said later, bed creaking as we settled. Does she? His voice muffled in pillow. Or digging for dirt? Trust frayed, a thread pulled loose. Arguments simmered low. Me late from study group, him snapping over a misplaced wrench. Where you been? He'd demand, not accusatory but edged. Library, like I said. Defensiveness crept, old patterns. Then the real fracture. A letter from Isaac's past. Arrived unmarked, postmark faded, San Diego. I found it on the counter, envelope slit, contents spilling. Photo of a younger Isaac, arm around a Marine buddy, both grinning cocky in desert camis. Back. Miss you, Storm. Found God. Forgive? Jason. The name he'd let slip once. Drunk on bourbon. First love, lost to a roadside bomb in Fallujah. But the letter implied more, reunion hints. Old flames don't die easy. I confronted him that night, paper trembling in grip. Who's this? And why's he writing now? Isaac's face shuddered, jaw tight. X. From before. Found my address through vet rolls. He reached for it. I pulled back. X like me? Or X you buried? Words venomous, born of fear, losing him to ghosts. He recoiled, hurt flashing. You think I'd? After everything. Stormed to the garage, door slamming echo. I followed, regret hot. Isaac, wait. I'm scared. This town's half ready to lynch us. Now you're past knocking. He turned, wrench in hand, eyes stormy. Jason's married, church deacon. Closure, Alex. Not temptation. Voice broke. But you, doubting me? That's the betrayal I can't fix. We circled each other days. Polite strangers in shared space. Anti-mediated, gentle. Men and their walls. Tear 'em down, boys. But pride held fast. Climax brewed in spring thaw. Mill unrest flaring again. Layoff rumors swirled. Pickets reforming. Isaac threw in, organizing meetings in the VFW hall. Smoke-hazed rooms thick with desperation. I tagged along. Laptop open to union bylaws. But tension crackled between us unspoken. One rally, downtown square. Crowd swelling, signs bobbing. Isaac on the steps, voice thunder. They bleed us dry. Time to clot the wound. Cheers erupted, but counter-protesters jeered. Suits from corporate. Locals fearing agitator queers taint. A rock sailed, clipping Isaac's brow. Blood trickled. I shoved through, shielding him. Enough! Fists flew. Me tackling a burly scab. Isaac hauling me off. Sirens wailed, zip ties biting wrists. Back seat of cruiser, cuffed side by side. His knee pressed mine. Stupid, he muttered. You're stupid. I shot back. But in the lockup, cold bench, fluorescence buzzing, walls crumbled.
I'm sorry.
About Jason. About doubting. He leaned head on my shoulder. Whisper ragged. Forgive me too, for shutting down. Handcuffs clinked as fingers linked. Love you, Alex. No ghosts. Bail came quick. Auntie fuming but fierce. Charges dropped. Community service. Coaching youth league. Ironic twist. We laughed over it later. Stitches fresh on his forehead. Our trophy. I joked, tracing it gentle. Healing deepened bonds. Jason wrote once more. Isaac replied open, with me reading over. Grateful for the past. Building future. Envelope sealed with our blessing. Summer scorched, college break a gift. We escaped to the lake. Cabin rental, splinter dock creaking under weight. Days swimming, nights tangled in sheets. Passion rekindled, but tender now, exploratory maps of scars. Here, he'd murmur, kissing a faded bruise from football. And here, vulnerability's gift. But conflict lingered external. Town hall meeting. Mill expansion vote. Green energy versus old steel. Isaac testified, voice steady. Progress don't mean erasure. Retrain us. Don't replace. Applause mixed boos. I swelled proud. After, drive home. Becca waiting on porch, face drawn. Heard about the fight. And, I know, about you too. Pause heavy. Lincoln suspected. That's why the pills, he felt replaced. Air sucked out. We didn't. I know. Tears welled. He loved you. Wanted you happy. Just wrote this. Handed a letter, creased from pocket. Lincoln's scrawl. If it's real, fight for it. Don't let me be the ghost that haunts. Your QB. We cried then, me, Isaac, Becca, grief's dam breaking. She hugged us goodbye. Honor him. Live loud. Fall semester loomed, but we faced it fortified. I aced midterms, sketches turning portfolio worthy. Isaac landed foreman spot, crediting our teamwork. Pride weekend we hosted. Rainbow flags on the porch, neighbors trickling incurious. Jake brought beer. To second chances. Winter whispered peace, holidays warm. Christmas Eve, tree strung with Lincoln's old ornaments, jersey patches, tiny footballs. We exchanged vows casual by firelight. Through storms, Isaac said, ring glinting. Always north, I echoed, but by Kitch's shadow fell subtle. Spring, doctor's call for Isaac. Shadow on lung scan. Dust from the fab shop, maybe older shrapnel. Biopsy pending, but fear coiled. Hospital waits blurred. Me pacing linoleum, mom's hand in mine. Strong as oak, she soothed. Results. Benign, cyst from scar tissue. Relief crashed. Us clinging in the room, sobs muffled. Scared me, he admitted later, home safe. Me too. Kishfirs. But we're unbreakable now. Summer bloomed resilient. Lake trips doubled. Becca joined once. Picnic, stories shared. Lincoln alive in laughter. Town evolved slow. First same-sex couple at the diner counter. Nods instead of stares. Climax's echo. Mill strike averted. Isaac's negotiation key. Front page. Local hero bridges divide. We framed it beside Lincoln's photo, smiling eternal. Fall winds carried change. My internship in Cleveland, commutes testing. But roots held, weekends home, truck humming faithful. One night, riverbank, stars vast. Think he'd approve? I asked, head on Isaac's chest. Heartbeat steady. He does. Feel it. I did. Forgiveness, full circle. The internship swallowed summer's whole. Cleveland's skyline a jagged promise. Cubicle humming with blueprints and caffeine. Commutes blurred highways. Radio tuned to classic rock anthems that felt like anthems to us now. Isaac text mid-morning. Miss your sketches on the fridge. Bring one home? I'd snap a quick doodle on napkin, him welding, sparks like stars, and pin it virtual, his reply emoji heart punching above weight. Distance tested but fortified us. Weekends were sacraments. Friday dusk pull up, his arms waiting on the porch, kiss tasting of home. Tell me everything, he'd demand over steak. Rare, like his patience for my city tales. I'd spill. Office politics, the engineer mentor who saw my raw talent. The quiet bar where I nursed soda, watching couples unafraid. They hold hands in daylight. I'd marvel. He'd nod, fork pausing. Someday here too. Optimism his gift, steady as his weld lines. Auntie thrived in our absence. Book club budding. Even dating a widower from church, gentle soul with a '67 Mustang. About time, she'd tease over phone. You boys nesting proper. We were saving for a down payment, Elm Street house too full of ghosts for forever, but roots nearby. Fall semester senior year ramped pressure. Capstone project looming. A sustainable garage redesign fusing old steel with green tech. Isaac beta tested, critiques sharp. Make the hoist solar. Mill boys'll eat it up. Nights blurred code and kisses. His hands guiding mine over schematics. Metaphors unintended but apt. Conflict stirred domestic. Money tight, my stipend meager, his overtime brutal. Bill stack grew, tension simmered. We cut the cable. I suggested one rainy Tuesday, take out cooling. Or I pick up doubles. He countered, pride flint. Fought quiet, words barbs. Can't fix everything alone. Me city scarred, pushing independence. Him old school, guarding provision. Storm broke over dinner. Envelope from bank, late mortgage notice. How? I choked, paper crumpling. Slipped. After the med bills. His admission raw, head bowed. I softened, hand over his. Team, remember? We refinance. Together. Resolution came collaborative. Side hustle, me tutoring calc online, him flipping junkers in the drive. Cash flowed, but lesson sank. Vulnerabilities not weakness. Broader waves crashed. National news bleeding local. Obergefell echoes fading. But state bills clawing rights back. Town hall erupted again. Anti-groups picketing with signs venomous. Protect traditional families. Isaac and I attended. Hands clasped defiant under folding chairs. Speaker droned fear-mongering. Booze mixed cheers. After, parking lot confrontation. Burly local, face twisted. Jake's uncle, mill vet gone sour. Freaks ruining our town. Spittle flew, he lunged. Isaac stepped front. Calm steel. Ain't ruining. Building. Fist raised, but I pulled him back. Cops circling. Walked away unscathed. But adrenaline lingered. Home. Porch swing creaking. Proud, I said, bandaging a scraped knuckle. But scared. Me too. Embrace tight. But love's the fight worth it. Climax personal. Capstone presentation. Auditorium packed. My design projected, garage reborn, solar panels gleaming, inclusive space for all trades. Judges nodded. Isaac in back row, thumbs up subtle. Applause thundered. Scholarship offer followed, grad school, full ride. Celebration dinner. Italian joint in Cleveland, candle flicker. To horizons, he toasted, ring catching light. But by Kitch's whisper, drive home, fog thick on 77. Tailgater aggressive, truck weaving, horns blaring. Isaac white-knuckled, ease off. Panic spiked, flash of Lincoln's crash, tree looming spectral. I floored it accidental, swerving. Brakes screamed. We hydroplaned, world tilting, ditch yawned, impact jarring but glancing. Truck stalled, hearts hammering. Shaken, we climbed out. Fender dented. No blood. Huddled by roadside. Rain sheeting. Like him, I gasped. The turn. Isaac held me fierce. But we made it. See? Unbreakable. Tow truck came. Home by dawn. Adrenaline crashed to sleep entwined. Healing therapy revisited, crash dredging fears. Counselor's words. Trauma echoes. Honor by living louder. We did pride larger. Float with mill crew waving rainbows. Town split but shifted. Even detractors quieted. Becca's clinic hosting ally trainings. Summer postgrad. Job offer. Cleveland firm. But hybrid. We compromised. Apartment there, weekends Elm. Nesting real, IKEA runs, arguments over throw pillows. Blue, I'd insist. Gray, he'd counter. Compromise. Stripes. Auntie's wedding small backyard. Us best men tandem. Vows exchanged under oaks. Through all weathers, echoed ours. Fall brought harvest moon festival, booths steaming cider, hayrides looping. We volunteered, kids swarming for face paint. One boy, gap-toothed. You like boys? Cool. My dad's too. Future glimpsed, hopeful. Winter solstice, lake frozen. Bonfire with friends, Jake, Becca, mill pals. Stories circled. Lincoln's pranks are scrapes. Toasts raised. To ghosts who guide. Climax's grace. Isaac's proposal redo. Dusk river. Knee not bent but equal. Marry me legal? When they let us. Ring upgrade, diamond chip winking. Yes. Breathless. Always. Spring wedding Vegas, quickie chapel, Elvis efficient crooning. Back home, reception diner takeover. Meatloaf towers, dances sloppy. Town turned out, full pews, cheers defiant. Years blurred montage. Promotions mine, union prez his. House bought, modern garage attached, sketches framed walls. Adoptions whispered, then real. Foster kid, Jamie, 12 and wary. 2 dads, skeptical at first. Now, best team ever. Lincoln's fund ballooned. Camps yearly, his jersey retired. Annual river picnic. Us, ghosts welcome. 1 anniversary truck drive, restored Ford gleaming. Remember the hook? I teased. Fixing his car. Isaac grinned, hand squeezing. Best detour ever. Sunset gilds water, we kiss slow, world right. Betrayal's scar faded. Love's story etched deep. Human, flawed, enduring. In America's heartland we found ours, beating strong.